Hi, it's Kamon Reynolds. It's the middle of our honey flow. The bees are starting to make honey. Let's get into this single brood management hive. I'm going to leave a link up here if you want to see how we made this little colony strong and do what it has done. So this is going to be a little bit of a long video, but it's going to be, I think, pretty cool. We're going to get to see this lift in action. We're going to see how much honey they're working on in there, seeing if they're drawing out any foundations, and hopefully they're not swarming down in that single brood management. So let's get to it. So I'm going to do a separate video on this right here, kind of a review on what I like and don't like, and I'm still just starting to use it a pretty good bit. So I might wait another month before I have a video on that. This is made up in Canada. It definitely has some pros and some cons. It's not the 4th of July yet, fellas. And what we're doing right now is we are cracking the seal around the excluder. And this tool is meant to help your back quite a bit. And let me tell you right now, my back needs all the help it can get. It is quite sore. And it's just overworked is all. It gets this way every year. Good to see the mole's doing good. Some people say, actually Laura was supposed to trim around this hive the other day with the weed whacker, and she didn't get around to it, so we're at to dock her pay a little bit. Oh, if looks could kill. Oh boy, this might be the last video. So now that I've popped that, hopefully I've done a good enough job, and we are going to grab this lifter right here. And it hooks up into the wall, but it also has a solar charger on the top, and seems to do a pretty good job. So we're going to raise it up a little bit, and you can see it's got those right there. We just flip them like that. Then we are going to drop it on down, push it forward, and obviously you have to have inner handles like these boxes do, or this won't work very good. Alright, and of course the excluder's wanting to come loose on me. So, we're just going to take this and we are going to sit it down over here. Takes a little bit getting used to. There's a pretty good bit of weight in these boxes as well. Now obviously this isn't quite ideal having it like on the ground like this. I just haven't got around to moving this one out of the yard, and I ended up having to leave a few around here to pull brood from for queen rearing. And this is just what's happened, but they're really good looking bees. It was a queen that we raised last year into the season and just let them go in with the mating nuke, let the three-way mating nuke build up. It overwintered about 5 frames of bees, and we have some really strong colonies in this yard that in that video I linked to earlier we used to give them a really good frame of brood or so, and it just took them to the next level fast, and they're making honey. So if you look at this frame right here, we have got, this is an outer frame mind you, and we've got nectar, bee bread, and we've got larvae and then capped brood down in here. A lot of drones in this hive. Looking down in here, just another gorgeous frame of capped brood. Just tons of drones in here. That's awesome. But look at this nectar down in here. They're just bringing it in today. Blackberry blossom is in full swing. They're just loaded down. We're going to have a great blackberry crop, and this year might just be average. It's probably not going to be a bumper crop, but it just feels like a bumper crop because last year was so poor. I looked at a video I made this time last year, and oh my goodness, it was just so sad. But this is nice. This is really nice. I can't wait to check those honey supers. So as you can see, I mean, look at this queen. Just brood, 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 brood. And I'm not seeing any swarm cells as of yet. And just more capped brood over here. These bees are doing a great job of getting that brood on up. And we are just going to keep looking through here just a little bit. Just larvae. Look at that pearly white larvae down in there. And you can see how kind of dark those bees are. There's some light ones in there too, some very light ones. And that's because our carnies aren't pure. There's no such thing as really a pure bee. And I just got stung on the finger. I pinched one as I shifted that frame around. Look at that in my finger right there. It didn't get me super good. We're just going to take that hive tool. We're just going to go against it and just yank that out. And now I've got part of the stinger still left in me, so that's going to feel really good here in a second. Always a pleasure. But honestly, you know, we could have just tipped the bottom box and just say, okay, we're not seeing any cells below. That usually works really good. Oh man, just this queen's just doing an awesome job. We're gonna get out of here in a second. I'm just gonna check one or two more combs. And just more emerging brood, more larvae. Great job by this queen. I am seeing again, I'm sure someone's gonna point out the queen cups down at the bottom and on the face of a couple of these frames. They all are looking really dry to me. Honestly, my plan is to take one of these combs with brood on it, and I'm going to replace it with another drawn comb. One, because I need that brood for splits and other things like that, but also it's going to kind of alleviate some of, you know, the queen's going to have more space to lay. I don't want to take a frame of emerging brood because that kind of defeats the point, because if they're all going to be out in the next day or two, then that's going to be nice room for her to have. So something maybe mid-stage or something like that. And taking bees right now isn't really going to hurt our flow. We're not going to get a whole lot left. You know, maybe 3 or 4 more weeks of flow. So we're already in here. It's all right to take a little bit. Look at that, just gorgeous pattern. This is how single brood management is supposed to work, though. The bees are clearing that honey up towards the top by and large. Tonight they'll probably get a lot of the nectar that's down in here and move that on up. Really nice colony. Not seeing any urge to swarm. This one is partially capped brood, and then the rest of it is larvae, and they're just now capping a lot of this over here. So this is the frame that I'm going to take, and I just want to make sure that the queen's not on it, and that way we don't end up taking the queen away from this awesome hive. Alright, let's put these back in. And no, I'm not putting them all back in their original location, but to me the main thing, it's really warm right now for us, so it's not very cool, is I want that brood to stay together. And then we'll put that extra frame on the outside. They haven't been shooting in a month, and they decided to do it 5 seconds after we start a video. It's hilarious. Let me grab that comb. Having drawn combs is very valuable. Here's a dead out comb from winter, and this will be just great. And we're going to stick this towards the edge, and she can lay in that. She was laying in the one on the edge on the last one, so that does give her laying room, but also it gives them room to move some of that pollen and other things out of the center frames a little bit. And just gonna get these spaced correctly. We only had 9 in here, and I am going to just lean that over here. I will give that to a nice little colony that could use a little bit of a boost. Alrighty then. One of the problems with this thing is there's hardly any level ground around here. Like, this is the most level bee yard I have. And we're on top of a hill. And this takes a little bit of practice eyeballing this. I'm definitely not a pro at using this machine yet. That didn't look too bad though. So just like that. And wow, that actually was pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. And you can just kind of scoot things where they need to be pretty easily. Just scoot it forward, all that kind of stuff. So let's check just a little bit into this hive up here in the supers and see if we're making any honey. I know for a fact we're doing better than we did last year. Already made way more honey. Look at that golden goodness. Got one new comb down in here in the center. And isn't that just awesome? It's probably about halfway filled, but man, that is awesome. I love to see that new comb. That's one of the other things last year that was kind of heartbreaking, was not only the lack of honey, but we weren't able to draw that much comb. I mean, we probably drew a third of the comb during the flow as we normally do. So let's check these adjacent combs right here. And these are pretty full. I'd say 80%, 90% on these. Doing pretty good. They're getting a little creative over in here a little bit, but that happens. Oops, dropped that one. Let's drop down one box and see if they're doing anything with the foundations. Now the deep box down there is a honey super as well, and I know for a fact that it is extremely full of honey. That's where the majority of the weight was coming from. That and this box right here. This is a wax dipped old Kelly box right here that I made a video on. It was a deep, we cut it down and then we wax dipped it, and I scraped off as much of the paint as I could so the wax could penetrate as best as it could. Oh man, don't you love it? They had a bird, a little bit of comb to the tops of those other frames. So see, that's what you're not supposed to be doing right there, is lifting the box up and leaning over. But the mediums are much better than the deeps. They're drawing this one out a little bit. Just a little bit. I just put it on last week though. And so they got just a good start there. If they don't finish it out and they don't put honey in it, we'll take the honey off and we will leave that on, and then we will feed the colony after we're done removing all the honey and get them to draw that out the rest of the way. Those combs are really valuable. This is a nice wax dip box right here. They're definitely more active in this super, and they have drawn out. They're starting to draw out. Yeah, they're actually starting to work a little bit on this edge frame right here. And let's see what's going on right on this one. Excellent. Oh man. Look at that. They're starting to cap down there a little bit. Ah, love it. The flow looks like it's going to be shaping up pretty good. Privet hasn't even started yet. Neither has basswood. Clover's just starting really good. Blackberry hasn't finished up yet. So I'm hoping that off of this colony, if things continue to hold, we're going to get that medium. We're going to get one medium's worth of honey between the two of these foundations. And that deep is very full down in there. It's probably 90 to 95% full. It was last time I checked it. A lot of honey right there. A lot of drawn combs. really excited. Thanks everyone who was very encouraging verbally, and also the people who supported us in other ways last year when the honey flow was just the worst I've ever seen it in 18 years. This is what I'm used to and normally see when you have a really nice queen. You have that great queen, there's very low mites, and there's good nutrition, and you keep them from swarming. Maybe that's the fourth secret key. This is what you can get here in Tennessee, and we're not known for long honey flows, but when the weather's right and the bees are able to capitalize on it, this is what you get. And I'm so excited. Cannot wait to start extracting honey. It's going to be a blast. Look at this down in here. See the different hues? How that's a little bit darker down in there, and how some of this is a lot lighter. Interesting. Makes you wonder. Alrighty, well, we're going to throw this colony back together. But you got to see the lift a little bit. Again, I'll have a video on that. If you want to see what we did to beef up this colony, because we knew the queen was great. She just needed a little bit of help to get to that next level in time to make this honey crop. You can watch that up here. We got a lot more stuff coming on. So thanks everybody for watching our videos. We'll see you next time.